and welcome back to Aamsuntitledpodcast. I'm Am. Hi, if you've never met me before, it's really nice to meet you. Welcome to my Percy Jackson dedicated podcast. I've recently started a new series on my podcast, which is the best of Percabeth moments. So, in other words, we talk about my favourite Percabeth moments in the TV show and in the books. So, what I'm planning to do is start with the first 5 books. So, currently we are on Last Olympian, which I've had to split into 2 parts because there were too many Percabeth moments and I couldn't pick. And then in the next few episodes, we're going to be talking about Heroes of Olympus, Chalice of the Gods, and then all around my top favourite moments in each set of books. So the best Percabeth moments in the first 5 books, and then the best Percabeth moments in Heroes of Olympus. But I'll talk more about that when the time gets closer. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the best Percabeth moments. So this is part 1 in the Last Olympian. So I don't really have I have a specific cutoff point, and then we'll talk about the rest of the moments towards the second half of the book. So the first Percabeth moment in this book that we're going to be talking about doesn't actually involve Annabeth being there, but it's the scene where after Rachel has kissed Percy and made it quite obvious that she likes him, Charles tells Percy that maybe basically that Charles won't mention to Annabeth that Rachel has kissed him. And the first thing Percy says is, "Oh gods, no." Like, he knows for a fact she'll bloody kill him if she finds out that Rachel has kissed him. Because up until now, Annabeth has made it quite obvious that she doesn't like Rachel very much. And that dislike is not because she doesn't like Rachel as a person, it's just because she doesn't like the fact that Rachel is making moves on Percy, basically. There was one little mini quote, of course, when Percy comes back to camp and is greeted by Chiron and Annabeth, and the first thing that he says is, "My heart did a relay in my chest when I saw her." Guys, he's a goner. Like, there's no way he can have feelings for anyone else. Like, it's so sweet to see a guy so down bad for a girl. And he's such a simp, but normally, I would find it so, what's the word, cliche, but with them I just I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the way that Rick writes it. It just melts my heart, and I can't, even my unromantic stone cold heart can't take the cuteness of these two. So I think that just says a lot in itself. um the next little Percabeth moment that I wanted to talk about is where Percy is struggling to read out the Great Prophecy because of his ADHD, and Annabeth sort of helps him out. She's so supportive. She's got ADHD as well, but I don't think that it's as bad as Percy's, and she just basically is just there to give him a hand. Now, you're probably thinking, "Oh, but that's not a cute moment." It really is, because I think support is so huge in a relationship, and these two have been through so much together. Um, and the fact that they still have this support years later, I think, is very, very impressive. And like I said, for me, it's not big moments or big declarations of love. It is just these small little things that really genuinely stand out to me. The next Percabeth moment that I wanted to talk about is the scene where Annabeth and Percy are basically having a bit of an argument. And in that argument, Annabeth calls Percy a coward. Now, I'm not sure about this, but in my mind, I'm 100% certain that she wasn't referring to his bravery as a demigod. I think it's because she's annoyed with Percy because she has shown him how he feels, yet he hasn't told her how he feels about her. And it's because not only won't he admit it to himself that he has feelings for Annabeth, but he's not admitting it to her either. And that's causing a problem. So it's kind of putting this doubt in Annabeth's mind that she's been vulnerable and she's kissed Percy to show him how she feels, but he's not really given her anything back. And in the last book, they've had a bit of let's say, a few downs in their relationship. They've had some good moments, but there's also been these reoccurring fights about people intervening in their relationship. And the fact that, even I was a bit, shocked when I remember reading that scene. So I was like, whoa, she's so angry with him, and I've never seen her like that. And believe me, Percy's not the easiest person to deal with, but somehow with Annabeth, it's come quite easily for her. But the fact that she called him a coward really like threw me. I was like, whoa. I was like, this girl, like I get her frustration, like I really do. And I don't think Percy quite understood why she was saying that to him. But like I said, Rick is a genius. Even their fights have um meaning to them, which I love. I love that. They're not just saying it to be horrible to each other, they're not saying it to bring each other down. They're just saying it because they're both so unbelievably frustrated that sometimes it happens. Like people, when they lose their temper, tend to say things that are horrible to people. And, at that point, it's not that they're a bad person, it's just that they're so upset and they can't see a way out of the situation. Like I said, both characters, Percy and Annabeth, they're both very grounded, and that's what I love about Rick's writing. The next scene really stood out to me, and it's got to be one of the best Percabeth moments. It's when, of course, Percy dives into the River Styx so that he can basically become invincible, save everybody. But as he's in the river, he sees Annabeth and she's holding her hand out to him. And to me, that just means that she's that person that keeps him connected to his mortal life. She's his moral compass, she's his anchor in life. And she's so important to him. And I don't think up until this moment he's realized how special she truly is and how I don't think he knows himself what he feels for her. Like, it's something that can't be put into words. And oh my gosh, that was so clever. Honestly, that moment, I was like, can we all just give Rick a round of applause for that moment? Because it was such an eye-opening moment, not only for Percy, but for everybody else reading the series as well. It was just, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Just wow. Wow, wow, wow. What a moment that Rick created there. That's got to be one of the best well-written moments in the Percy Jackson world. Honestly, it was great. And I love that scene as well. The next scene that I wanted to talk about is after, of course, Percy bears the Achilles curse and he comes to the Empire State Building to help, of course, help fight the war. And Annabeth sort of looks at him and she already knows that there's something different about him. He doesn't even have to tell her, she just says, "You look different." So in her mind, she knows that he's done something. And he didn't tell her that he was going to go and do that. They've got some mad soulmate instincts, guys. Like, it's like they read each other like an open book. It's insane. Their connection is just next level, honestly. The next scene that I wanted to talk about is the scene. Of course, Hestia has been showing Percy these visions of Annabeth's past. So he's seen like what happened with Luke, Thalia, Annabeth's like in a basically as a young. Why can't I talk? Um, Basically Annabeth's entire past. And after Hestia stops showing him these visions, like he faints basically and he falls straight into her arms. And I think it's just this reoccurring idea, this reoccurring theme that they're both each other's safe place. And sh the minute she has her arms around him, he doesn't need to be scared anymore. Oh my God, Rick, you're a genius. You're a genius for making these moments so just iconic. Like, this is why it was so hard for me when I did this book because I was just like, I don't know how I'm just supposed to pick a few moments when they have so many great ones. I think I've used most of them. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, but I don't regret it at all, and I hope you guys don't either. Um, there was one little scene that I wanted to talk about. So, of course, Percy and Annabeth have to go and confront the river gods to help them sink Kronos' ships. And, Annabeth just basically says, "I don't want anything to happen to you." Like, she's so scared to lose him. And, she's been abandoned by pretty much everybody she's ever loved. Like, of course, Athena's been non existent in her life. Her father, she had to leave because of her stepfamily. Luke left her. Thalia's gone. Like, for her, she's lost everyone who loves her and cares about her. And, the thought of losing Percy, I think, worries her to death. Like, oh my gosh. God, I'm not intended, guys. But it's just this idea that if Percy goes, like, what's she gonna do with herself, basically? And it's just, oh my gosh, I don't know how to explain it. It was just that one quote just did. It's such a simple thing for her to say, but I think it had so many hidden meanings to it, and it was just beautiful. So beautiful. Like I said, Rick creates small moments that really resonate with me. It's not about big gestures. It's just about those little things that make like a relationship so memorable. Yeah, I love them. I love them, is all I can say. I love them unconditionally. The next quote that I wanted to mention is something that Percy says, where he says, "Don't I get a kiss for good luck?" It's kind of tradition, right? And, Annabeth, she's equally as stubborn and she's like, "Come back alive, seaweed brain, and we'll see." Honestly, Percy's Riz in these books is just unmatched. Like, he is the ultimate Riz master. I now see why so many people like fall for him. Like, I had the biggest crush on him when I read the books, because I just, wow, like, that's the kind of guy that you want. Like, Percy is just one of the best male fictional characters that has ever been written. And I can see why everybody falls for him as well. Like, I understand where they're all coming from. And, I'm glad that he got this surge of like confidence to ask her for it. Like, you kissed me last time, so would you do it again? Like, it was you like might think that that's a bit weird, but I don't. I think it's very important. And he asked for consent, guys. Like, he doesn't just forcefully kiss her. Consent is very important. I mean, Annabeth didn't really ask for his consent when she kissed him, but yeah, she thought she was going to lose him, so I'll let it slide for her. And also because she's my favorite, I'll let it slide. Yeah, I thought that moment was really funny. It really made me laugh when I read the book. I was like, oh, Riz, guys, Riz. Somebody wants to learn Riz, learn it from Percy Jackson. The amount of people that he's wrote in these books is insane. Um, the next scene that I want to talk about is probably one of my favorite Percabeth moments. In fact, it might be my favorite Percabeth moment ever. Is the scene where Annabeth gets stabbed by Ethan Nakamura trying to protect Percy's Achilles spot. So she knows that he's vulnerable, and Percy never told her where that spot is. She just felt like he was in danger, and she just stood in front of him to protect him, I guess. And the full quote is, "Get back. I slashed the air in a wide arc, driving the rest of the demigods away from Annabeth. Nobody touches her." And I was just like, oh my god, swoon, swoon, swoon. I'm literally, honestly, guys, I wish you guys could see how excited I get when I read that quote, because, oh my gosh. It's just the fact that she didn't know where his Achilles spot was. It's just she had this instinct that he was in danger, and without hesitation, she just saved him, which is so, so cool. And, they would die for each other. And I think that just got proven in that moment. Again, it was such a well created moment by Rick. Honestly, Rick deserves an award for these books because they are so good. If we guys didn't need any more clarification how much she loves Percy, I think in that one scene it just all got proven. Yeah, it's definitely that whole she fell first but he fell harder. Like, that meme always comes to mind when I think about Percy and Annabeth. Um, the next scene that I wanted to talk about is more of like a very emotional, sort of vulnerable scene where, of course, after Annabeth is sort of starting to heal, Percy asks her, "Why did you take that knife for me?" And, all she says is she knows for a fact he would have done the same thing for her. And it's just this reoccurring thing that they would die for each other. And like, what I love so much about their relationship is that they don't have to say "I love you," say "I love you." Their actions just speak louder than their words. And they have this intense emotional connection that I have never seen before. And honestly, like, just thinking about it, like, my heart is racing. Like, they're so cute, and they just they have something that I've never seen in another fictional relationship, and that's just all down to Rick's amazing writing and his relationship with Becky. Because, my God, it really does show. Like, you want to know why so many people are Percabeth shippers? It's because moments like that, and you're like, yeah, they deserve a happy ending because they are just so pure, and there is no couple more deserving to be together than Percy and Annabelle. And I really do stand by that statement. The next scene, it comes a little bit slightly further down. It's close to to the previous scene, but it's where Percy shows her where his Achilles spot is. So when you have this spot, you're not really supposed to tell anybody, of course, but Percy trusted Annabeth enough to tell her where it was. And the quote is, I moved her fingers to the one spot that grounded me to mortal life. 1,000 volts of electricity seemed to arc through my body. Guys, I swear, these two, they're gonna kill me one day. Like, my heart literally just melted. Like, I felt that. It's just, I don't know how to explain it. When it comes to them, I run short of words because there's no words big enough to express how great their relationship is. And yeah, I'm so happy that they had this moment, considering the fights that they've had up until now, these small moments, it just makes those fights seem so insignificant compared to what they feel for each other. And oh, I love you, Rick. Rick, you're amazing. And these two really do pull at my heartstrings, but I love it. They pull at them in the best way. Let's just put it like that. The next Percabeth moment that I wanted to talk about is something that Percy says to Annabeth, which mirrors what she said to him earlier, which is, I don't want him to hurt you anymore. So, in other words, that he doesn't want Luke to hurt Annabeth any more than he already has. Like, he's already caused her not just, I think, a bit of physical pain as well, but more of the emotional pain. And Percy can see that. And I think he's still worried that when Annabeth comes face to face with Luke, he doesn't know how she's going to respond. Like he doesn't know if his love is enough to protect her from Luke. Spoiler alert, guys, it is. But yeah, it's just that one quote, just so beautiful their relationship is. There's got to be a better word to describe them because they're just perfection. The next scene I wanted to talk about is, of course, now I've talked about them having good moments. There was one little blip, you could say, in their relationship after they've had these intense, vulnerable moments together. Is the scene where Annabeth helps Percy to save Rachel from a helicopter. And the way that she says it is, oh, I'm going to help you save your friend. So she's making it very clear to him how she feels about Rachel. Like, she don't care. She's doing this for Percy. And of course, after she's helped to save Rachel, the first thing she does is storm off because she's angry. Now, the thing that I thought this was, now feel free to disagree with me, or if somebody else has got a different opinion, please let me know, is I think she storms off because they finally had like a good thing going. Like Percy and her, they had gotten over these fights and they were finally having a good moment, like things were going well for them. And she feels like that now that Rachel is here, it's going to ruin everything. And I get that, like I can see that. Like Annabeth she's had to fight for every scrap of love that she's ever gotten in her life. And now she's scared that somebody's come to take Percy away from her, someone who she loves so much. She's scared that another girl is going to sweep him away. Oh, bless her. Do you know what? My heart really does break for Annabeth sometimes. Like, there's these. Rick has created such a complicated character. Like, people think that Annabeth is an easy character to understand, but she isn't. And I love the reason why she's my favorite is because I love that she has that complexity. Like, everybody has complex things about them. I truly believe that nobody is simple. Everybody has things that give them this complex characterization, I guess. And Annabeth is one of those. And I've seen like a lot of people like didn't like Annabeth, and I found that really like concerning because I was just like, what? I goes, how can you not love Annabeth like after everything? And I think it's just because some people don't understand her, which is valid. Like, she's a complicated character, like I get that, but yeah, she's my favorite because she's very real. And I love that. And that feeling of losing somebody that you like everybody has that, like in relationships. Like when you really like somebody, and of course another girl has just come and taken the guy or the girl that you're interested in, it's a bit like, oh, it hurts. And I think that's what Annabeth is scared of. She's scared that Percy will leave her, which he won't. Of course he won't. He's fatally loyal. He never will. But it's just that niggling doubt that she has in their mind because they're not officially together. Like, if you think about it, like they've just kissed, but there's nothing else that's they've not put a title on their new relationship. So I think that's why she's a bit, the unexpected and the unknown is actually quite scary. So I can understand why she's behaving that way. But yeah, we'll talk more about that a little bit later on in the next episode. The second to last moment that I wanted to talk about is the scene where Annabeth and Percy are in the elevator that's going to take them up to the in why can't I talk? When they're in the elevator that's taking them up to Olympus, and the first thing that Annabeth says to Percy is that he was right about Luke all along and that he's no good. And this is a big moment because I think it's the moment where she's finally accepted that the Luke that she knew and the Luke that she loved is no longer there. He's gone. Like he's been fully consumed by Kronos. And I think secretly Percy is a little bit relieved as well. Like this is what he's been waiting for. Like this has been causing problems in their relationship for the last two books. And now Annabeth has finally seen Luke for what he is. And I think it's a huge sign to the audience that her feelings for Luke are dissipating and then disappearing. And even if she has a few niggling feelings here and there, like they're nothing compared to this love that she has for Percy. And I love that. Rick, oh my gosh, makes me so unbelievably happy because I used to get annoyed with Annabeth, like with her whole thing with Luke. But then as I got older and understood her a little bit more, I realized that she's not necessarily to blame for it. And, I'm, I think Percy is secretly happy that she's finally gotten over these feelings. And she's not just saying it because this last scene that we're going to talk about to sort of round this episode off is the scene where Annabeth literally attacks Luke with her dagger, and Percy tries to stop her, but honestly, she's so far gone in that moment. Like that's the moment you realize that that crush is gone, those feelings she had for him is gone, and that she actually hates him. I think she really does. And she's saying it, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. She says it over and over again. Like she's really pushing this idea that all these pent up feelings that she had for him are gone, and that this all these feelings now, this hatred that she has for Luke now, is because of the pain that he's caused her. And I wanted to leave it on that note. And you guys are probably going to be so annoyed and be like, why? Just because I want to talk more in the next episode, more in depth, and to give each moment the time that it deserves. So let's sort of round off the episode now. So let's talk about my final thoughts. So, of course, the big reveal is that Rachel has feelings for Percy. Woo! If anybody didn't know that she didn't have feelings for him up until the moment that she kissed him, I'm sorry, but how did you not know? But I get it. Some people just don't see it. Maybe you're like Percy and you can't see it. And, he doesn't really say much. Like, since he's found out that Rachel has feelings for him, he never really comments on them in the book. And when he says to Charles that he doesn't want Annabeth to know, I think it's because he doesn't want to hurt her or upset her. Mate, she's gonna find out regardless, but whatever. The soulmate instincts in this book are just insane. Like they literally can read each other's mind. It's quite like it's scary almost how well they know each other. But I guess they've been to like side by side since they were 12, so I guess that gives you a bond that is um can't really be understood by anybody unless you're physically in that relationship. So yeah. Um Percabeth was Percabething more than any other book. They've been through so much together in these last few books, but they've survived. And I think the reason why they've survived is because they've had each other. But what I love is that in this book, like things are still uncertain between them. Like even though they know that they like each other. It's just they haven't had the chance to sit and talk it out, which of course they wouldn't because they've been preparing for a war. And then, of course, they had the invasion in the heart of camp, which caused a lot of problems. So, yeah, I just thought that I've left it in a very interesting place and I'm going to pick it back up. Don't worry. So, stay tuned for part two of The Last Olympian, the best moments of The Last Olympian. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Episodes are available there and on Spotify. You can follow me on Spotify as well. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and on Threads. It's both at Aamsuntitledpodcast. Feel free to DM me any questions, any content recommendations. If anybody wants to have a chat with me about these moments, I'm so open to that. Like, I would love to have like a conversation with a group of people about this dynamic and just about the books in general. I'm hoping one day we'll get to that stage. Have I forgotten anything? It's really hard for me because I can never remember what I want to say. Oh, yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening in. I really appreciate it. Let me know what your favorite Percabeth moment is from the first 5 books, and I will speak to you guys in the next episode. Mwah. Bye.